Hey guys, Max here. I just finished chapter 2 of Beyond Order, and I'm very excited to share what I have learned about myself, about the world, about more so about myself, though. There's a lot to learn about myself and lots to work on myself. So that's what this book is super good at. Uh, are you ready to fulfill your potential? Because I realized reading this chapter that the way I can do that and the way you can do that is by lasering the focus on one single thing. And it has to be the right thing. It can't just be any old thing. It has to be something that you really have to think hard and long about. And I feel as I'm in my life, I'm doing that right now, and I'm very excited about it. So here we go. Imagine who you could be, and then aim single-mindedly at that. That's it, man. If we find that star in the sky, that shining north star, and stay on track, and that's a pursuit that serves our fellow man and serves ourselves as well, that is what we're talking about here. And that's what makes me super excited, because the more and more people I connect with, the more and more I realize that North Star is serving your fellow man. It's not all about me. Although the objectivists, Miss Rand would believe otherwise. But that long-term serving my fellow man, so you can create that notoriety, that bit where you scratch his back, he'll scratch yours. And if we all do that for each other, that is where life is all about. And figuring out how to aim at that through your vocation, through your pleasure, through your recreation, whatever it is, that is the question to ask, and that's the question to attempt to answer. Question: who are you? Or at least, who could you be? Answer: part of the eternal force that constantly confronts the terrible unknown, voluntarily. Part of the eternal force that transcends naivety and becomes dangerous enough, in a controlled manner, to understand evil and bear it in its lair. And part of the eternal force that faces chaos and turns it into productive order, or that takes order that has become too restrictive, reduces it to chaos, and renders it productive once again. I just love this, the constantly confronting life voluntarily, whether that means you wake up early, go to the gym, talk to your boss about a contentious issue, talk to your significant other about a contentious issue. It's always confronting life voluntarily. I've attempted to force people to do things in my life. I don't like saying this, but I have. Whether that is forcing, people around me, as family or friends, and it just never works long term. And all I care about is long term sustainability. That's what life is all about. Life truly is a marathon. It is a blink in the eye if we look at all humankind, but my life and your life are a marathon. They're not a one-time sprint. And the way you can make that life a little more worthwhile, and I figured out, is by confronting everything head on. I don't really like waking up at 4:54 every morning. I really don't. It's dark. It's cold. And today was pouring rain. It's really not that fun. But I realized I'll have the regret of not doing it if I stay in bed. It's confronting that thing, whatever it is, whether that, again, contentious issue in yourself. A lot of times I have to confront the issues in myself. I'd much rather go watch TV and lounge, but in reality, the best thing for me to do long term is to dig into books, dig into myself, and really figure out what those issues are, where they're coming from, and how to go about them. Confronting things voluntarily. Not easy and not fun, but worthwhile. It's much better to deal with one small problem as it comes up than 100 small problems weeks and months and sometimes years down the road. It's dealing with that and not trying to avoid it, not trying to subvert it, but confronting it head on. The most courageous people, and I say this for myself because I really need to work on it, is encountering things head on. Not to the side, not under it, not over it, head on. That's where you really build that courage. And courage is something that just is spruced upon you when you're born, or it just someone, or it's magic. It doesn't happen. It happens through daily actions of courage. Telling your partner that you really find it frustrating when the toilet seat's not put down, or when the dishes are everywhere. It's these small acts of courage that create that longer term communication. Because once we sever the communication, once we stop talking, you know what happens. We stop talking and we go to political and physical violence, which are not good for any polite society like the West. The West does not tolerate that, and it should not tolerate it. But confronting that head on, and then always looking at it as an issue to be solved, not a perpetual problem. And I've seen that a lot. It's a perpetual problem that's never going to end. This person is always this way. Well, how about you look inside yourself and figure out maybe how I'm contributing to the problem? How am I contributing to the problem? That's what I ask myself in every single time I'm confronting an issue. And you know what the answer is a lot of times? A lot of times is the issue is made up in my head, or I have a huge part to play in resolving this or in creating the issue, and then an even larger part to play to resolve it. So confront it head on. Small problem, dealing with it is a lot better than 100 issues. And then lastly, this whole video is about fulfilling the potential. And part of fulfilling my potential is to transcend the naivety and become dangerous. That controlled manner that Jordan talks about is having the sword, yet keeping it in its sheath, because you can settle the problem without resorting to violence, without resorting to name calling, without resorting to screaming, without resorting to emotive-based arguments, as opposed to logic and facts. There's so much emotion flared up all the time in family gatherings, in societal gatherings, in friendly gatherings. It's so much emotion and not so much calm and collected. It's so much better for the long term and for you to think something with a cold mind. In Spanish, it's called la cabeza fría. Speak and make your choices when your mind is not hot. Because once we go to the fight or flight response, all the logic goes out and it's all emotion. And also becoming, the full potential is becoming dangerous enough, looking into your heart, looking in to see how many issues you have, and then realizing, I can either use this for immense order or immense chaos. And I'd hope you choose the former. Atop the round chaos perches a dragon. This is because what is interesting and meaningful and novel and unexpected, as those all go together, manifests itself in a form that is both dangerous and promising, particularly when its grip is intense and irresistible. Do you need to quit your 9-to-5 and start a business? Do you need to go ask that girl out? Do you need to go approach that guy and talk to him? Figure out what that dragon is, that shining star. That dragon, if you can figure out what that dragon is and figure out how to slay the dragon so you can get the gold, that's really what we're looking for here. What is that thing in your life that you know you should do, but you haven't? It's that knowledge action gap. I know I should do something, but I simply haven't done it. I know I should go to the gym each morning and prioritize my physical health, yet I haven't because the snooze button's a lot more comfortable. And that's the thing, choosing the discomfort voluntarily, just like the last clip, over the comfort. The discomfort really sucks, but I promise you, at the end of the day, you can say, yes, I did that. And that is a choice I made. That agency is all back on me, all back on you, all back on the individual, not the alarm wasn't loud enough. My job sucks. The victim, the blaming, throw that out the window. The faster you can get rid of that completely in your life, the faster you can actually arise to that dragon, slay it, and take the gold. And everyone knows this. It's not like I'm saying anything novel or Jordan writes about anything novel. He just puts it in a narrative way that is super easy to understand, like the dragon. Everyone knows this. The most worthwhile things, think about one thing you've done that was really difficult and ended up working out. Your significant other, your children, the job you ended up attaining. All these things take a lot of work, take a ton of work. But at the end, it's the most worthwhile pursuits. The most worthwhile pursuits are the ones that take a ton of effort, a ton of blood, sweat, and tears. And they don't always pan out. I can think of so many in my mind that don't pan out. But the reality is that's all you got. That's all I have. That's all I have. The blood, sweat, and tears and hoping it's going to work out. And doing everything I can to look introspectively in me and figure out what part of the problem am I contributing towards? And what part of the solution can I contribute towards? But we all know that. The worthwhile things all take extreme effort and extreme time and extreme care. Pay attention above all, even to what is monstrous and malevolent, and speak wisely and truthfully. Open your eyes to reality. Figure out what's going on. Figure out what's actually happening in your life because of your agency, because of your decisions. The victimhood needs to be thrown out. 2021 and beyond needs to be all about the individual. We need to go back to the individual. This neo-Marxist collectivism, identity politics needs to be completely dismantled and destroyed. I agree. There's people who say we should burn things down. I agree. Let's burn down all these terrible ideas and replace them with new ones. Of course, that is the plan. Not to burn anything physically, but to burn down things and ideas that are simply poisonous. The worst thing you can do to someone is tell them that they cannot do something when you know full well they can. That stifles anyone's growth. It stifles your own growth. And the only way you can really get to the dragon, slay the dragon, triumphantly take the virgin and the gold home is when you approach that and open your eyes to what life has for you. Not what you like it to be, not what people want it to be, but what life truly is. Once you have that sober state of mind and being in reality, you can make the best decisions going forward. By accepting life's suffering, therefore evil may be overcome. It goes back to this, the hero's narrative. Be the hero. Don't be the victim. Don't be the one who's making excuses. You can overcome the evil in your own life. And that's really what it comes down to. The individual evil that's inside of you. The line separating good and evil passes not through states, nor between classes, nor between political parties either, but right through every human heart and through all human hearts. That's Alexander Solzhenitsyn. Solzhenitsyn. Say that 3 times fast. The evil in this life comes from the individual level. And so does the benevolence. The very good, virtuous things come to the individual level. But don't start blaming others for the evil they're doing until you can look introspectively and say, I am part of the issue. What have I been contributing and what can I do to contribute towards the solution? Predators devour, dragons lay waste, chaos destroys. The threat is real. Even truth, virtue, and courage are not necessarily enough, but they are our best bet. What's the alternative to me not becoming a virtuous, integrous, courageous person? What's the penalty if you don't pursue courageousness and confront those small dragons each and every day? Well, I think it's a good exercise to think about, if I don't become the person I should and desire and society needs me to be, what happens? Well, I'll tell you what happens. If I don't do it, I become a lazy dude who watches TV all day, sits on his ass, and doesn't accomplish anything. Doesn't bring anything good to my fellow man, my fellow brother or sister. I sit at home and do nothing. The do nothing syndrome. The laziness. That sluggard. Then it goes downhill from there. But think about that. Think about if you don't become the person you should be, the person you desire to be, and the person everyone around you needs to be, everyone needs you to be, what can the worst case scenario happen? That should be a motivating factor on pursuing courage, righteousness, and truth. Rule 2 is complete. Rule 3 is right around the corner. I will see you guys soon.